A fisherman in Montana pulled 14 trophy trout from one hole in 90 minutes, using something he found in his kitchen trash. His buddy fishing 20 feet downstream with premium lures caught nothing. The difference wasn't skill or luck. It was used coffee grounds mixed with water and poured upstream. Sounds absurd until you see the science behind why fish can't resist it. This isn't some viral internet hack that sounds good but fails on the water. Coffee grounds trigger the same biological response in fish that fermented bait does, but faster and cleaner. The compounds released when coffee hits water mimic amino acids from decomposing organic matter. Fish detect these signals from remarkable distances and interpret them as feeding opportunities. Their brains don't ask questions, they just respond. Tournament organizers caught wind of this method 3 years ago when an amateur angler dominated a regional bass competition. His cooler was packed while veterans struggled for bites. Someone noticed the dark residue on his hands and the smell that wasn't typical tackle box odor. Word spread quietly among those who witnessed it, but publicly nobody talked. Too many reputations were at risk if something this simple outperformed years of expensive gear and sponsorship deals. The banned substance list at major fishing events now includes organic attractants of any kind. Coffee grounds fall into that category, not because they're unfair, but because they work too well. When everyone's using the same artificial lures and scent products, skill becomes the differentiator. When someone introduces a natural attractant that quadruples catch rates, the playing field tilts hard. So they wrote it out of the rules and hoped recreational anglers wouldn't figure it out. But here's what they didn't count on. Coffee drinkers produce this miracle attractant every single morning without thinking about it. You're throwing away what could transform your next fishing trip. The grounds you toss in the trash contain oils and acids that remain potent for days. They don't need fermentation time or special preparation. Just basic extraction, and you've got an attractant that costs nothing and works on nearly every freshwater species. The chemistry explains why this beats store-bought options. Fresh coffee grounds contain caffeic acid, chlorogenic acid, and trace amounts of trigonelline. When these compounds dissolve in water, they create a scent profile fish, associate with insect larvae and aquatic invertebrates, breaking down in the ecosystem. It's not that fish love coffee. They're hardwired to hunt for the chemical signatures these grounds happen to produce. A biologist in Oregon ran tests comparing coffee ground attractant to commercial amino acid formulas. He set up identical rigs in a controlled pond stocked with base. One side got store-bought attractant. The other got coffee water. Over 6 hours, the coffee side logged 31 strikes. The commercial side managed 9. He repeated the test 4 times with different species: crappie, catfish, walleye, bluegill. Every single trial showed the same pattern. Coffee grounds outperformed products that cost $30 a bottle. The tackle industry knows this data exists. They've seen the field reports and the tournament incidents. But shelf-stable synthetic attractants generate steady profit margins. Coffee grounds generate zero revenue because anglers make them at home for free. There's no patent to protect, no formula to license, no brand to build. Just used grounds, water, and a container. That's why you won't find this method featured in fishing magazines or promoted by sponsored pros. What you will find are overpriced alternatives that try to replicate what coffee does naturally. Amino acid sprays, scent gels, attractant beads. All designed to make you think you need specialized products when the solution sits in your kitchen every morning. The gap between what works and what gets marketed has never been wider. While companies push chemical formulas, old-school knowledge keeps circulating among anglers who pay attention. Those who test it don't go back to store-bought options. The preparation process takes less time than brewing your morning cup. But there are details that separate effective attractant from muddy water that does nothing. Start with 2 tablespoons of used coffee grounds in a mason jar. They should be fresh from this morning's brew, still slightly damp. Add 8 ounces of room temperature water and close the lid tight. Shake it hard for 30 seconds until the water turns dark brown and all the oils release into the liquid. Let it sit for 10 minutes while the solids settle to the bottom naturally. Pour the liquid through a coffee filter into a clean bottle, leaving the sediment behind. What you're left with is concentrated coffee attractant, ready to use immediately. No waiting days for fermentation. No awful smells that make your family complain. Just pure extraction of the compounds fish can't ignore when they're in hunting mode. Store it in the fridge and it stays potent for up to 2 weeks without losing effectiveness. In a cooler with ice, it lasts your entire fishing trip without breaking down or going bad. Compare that to garlic mixes that need constant refrigeration or bloodbaits that spoil in heat. Coffee attractant stays stable because the acids act as natural preservatives within the solution itself. When you reach your fishing spot, the application method matters as much as the mix. Pour a quarter cup into the water about 10 feet upstream from where you'll cast your line. The current carries the scent downstream and creates an invisible trail fish follow straight to your bait. In still water, pour it in a circle around your planned fishing zone to establish a scent perimeter. Wait 15 minutes before casting to let the attractant disperse and start working through the water column properly. For bait enhancement, dip your lure or live bait directly into the coffee water before each cast. Soft plastics absorb the scent and release it gradually as they move through the water. Bread balls soaked in coffee attractant become irresistible to carp and catfish within minutes of hitting bottom. Even artificial lures benefit when you add scent to something fish normally ignore as fake. The species response varies but follows predictable patterns you can exploit. Catfish react strongest because they hunt primarily by smell in murky water, where visibility means nothing. Bass strike faster in stained water, when coffee scent gives them a target they can track. Crappie congregate around the scent zone and stay there longer than usual, making multiple catches possible. Carp seem programmed to investigate coffee compounds, probably because the acids mimic decomposing plant matter they feed on constantly. One angler in Michigan tested this on a lake he'd fished for 20 years without major success. He knew the structure, the seasonal patterns, the best times to fish, but his catch rates stayed average no matter what technique he tried or how much money he spent upgrading gear. The first trip using coffee attractant, he landed his personal best largemouth and filled his limit before noon. He wrote that it felt like cheating, but he checked the regulations and found nothing prohibiting natural attractants in recreational fishing. Tournament rules don't apply when you're just trying to catch dinner or enjoy a morning on the water. The coffee you drink every day contains the same compounds professional attractant companies try to synthesize in laboratories. They isolate the active ingredients, manufacture imitations, package them in tiny bottles, and charge premium prices. You're already producing the real thing as a byproduct of your daily routine. The grounds heading to your trash bin hold more attraction power than products sitting on tackle shop shelves. That gap between kitchen waste and fishing advantage is exactly what they hoped you'd never discover. But now you know. The only question left is whether you'll use it. The next time you're about to toss those coffee grounds, stop. What you're holding is the same advantage that got banned from competitive fishing because it worked too well. While others line up at tackle shops spending money on synthetic formulas, you've got something better sitting in your filter. Mix it, pour it, watch what happens. The fish don't care about marketing or brand names. They respond to chemistry that's been triggering their feeding instinct for millions of years. Tournament rules can ban whatever they want. Out on the water by yourself, there's no referee checking your methods. Just you, your gear, and a homemade attractant that outperforms everything the industry sells. That Montana fisherman didn't get lucky 14 times in 90 minutes. He just understood what actually works instead of what they want you to buy.